Welcome back to Me First with your host, Drew, the resident jokester with a heart of gold, and Amanda, optimistic space cadet who sees opportunity everywhere. We dive deep into everything from navigating love and family to crushing your business goals, all with a heaping helping of conversation and good humor. So make sure you subscribe and join the Me First fam. New episodes drop 3 weeks out of every month on the second, third, and fourth Thursday. Want to know more about a specific topic? Let us know in the comments. Today, we dive into the reasons why we procrastinate, break down the mental stuff that makes us put things off, and our own habits that lead us to putting off the important stuff. With a mix of humor, real life stories, and practical advice will help you understand and hopefully conquer your procrastination techniques. What do you got for us today, Drew?
Hey. Happy Saturday. How are you?
Oh man, happy Saturday. I'm okay. I'm a little sad.
A little sad? Why?
I'm a little sad, a little bummed. So I had this idea and I call it Curiosity Club, where it's like, just invite random people, hey, meet up at a coffee shop. We'll, have a topic and we'll just kind of chop it up on that topic, everything under the sun. And today was the first one. It was supposed to be last week, but unfortunately last week there was a funeral. Unfortunately, a friend of mine from high school passed away. And so I moved it. No one showed up. And so I was just like, I was very excited to talk about whether or not AI was going to take over all of our jobs, but we'll have another one. I'll do another one in like October. I'll keep it going. A lot of people seem to show interest, but it just didn't seem to work out. So I
didn't seem to
I hung out at the coffee shop. Yeah, for a little bit. And
maybe we got to toss out some flyers or something. Bring some folks in.
So I was a little in my feels.
Yeah, all right.
How you doing?
It's a good Saturday. Good Saturday. Been preparing for this episode today. Trying not to procrastinate. Right?
I've been learning a lot as we've been diving into this, and you've done a lot of the legwork, all of the legwork really, to kind of put this all this research together. So I'm excited. I feel like I know why I procrastinate, but I probably don't. So It'll be good to dig into that a little bit.
I know, right? There's just like so many reasons, and even for myself, as I'm doing the research as the reasons to why, the how, understanding, how we can change the dynamic. I'm like, maybe that's why I do it. Oh, maybe this is the reason too. Like there's so many components to it that can be a thing. So definitely today we're going to get into it and, kind of identify some of the reasons why people procrastinate and see if maybe one of them speaks to you.
Nice.
All right,
well,
let's
I'm
get
excited.
into it. All right. So today we're going to get into the reasons. Last episode we talked about kind of defining what procrastination was. Procrastination, I think a lot of people kind of struggle with it. I know myself, I always call myself a connoisseur of procrastination. I'm very, very good at it. I've mastered it, in fact. There's a lot of reasons I convince myself to do it. And it normally turns out great. So there's no reason really for me to stop.
You've climbed the mountain of procrastination and you love it up there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's great.
It always works out. So, one of the biggest things I think that I found in this research definitely was fear of failure. That one really spoke volumes to me because I've struggled with that, I think, for many, many years. Even in the process of even doing the podcast, I'm like, hey, well, sounds great, but maybe, I'm not going to be that good at it. Well, what do I say? Do I even know how to talk? Can I read? I don't know how to do any of these things.
Have I ever spoken before?
Right. Like, what am I supposed to do here? So, and how people are going to receive it. What are they going to say? Just so many things that play out in your head. And it's like, can I really do this? And it's like, what's really stopping you? You really just kind of allow yourself to get in your own headspace and prevent you from doing those things. So, that's one of the, I think, the main things that I've seen. so far. That definitely was something that relates to me.
You know, on
Yeah.
that fear of failure, my
Mhm.
auntie told me something once. I shared with her that that's one of my biggest things is fear of failure.
Right.
And she looked me dead in the eye and she said, "Oh, you mean a fear of success?"
Mm.
And that I don't know, it must have been the right day because it hit me and it stuck with me. It's like I'm act because she's like, "Well, what do you mean failure?" She's like, "You mean like you think you're going to try something, it's not going to go well, and you're going to end up on the street? Like, what do you mean?"
Right.
You know, it's like, well, it might not work out. And she's like, "And you consider that failure?"
Right.
She said, "That's not failure.
Right.
Failure would be never trying, never doing anything, or allowing yourself to sit so deeply in your fear that, that you know, end up losing your life in a way, not physically, but, you know,
Right.
metaphorically." And so she said, what most people consider a fear of failure is actually a fear of success. It's,
Mm.
I'd rather not try and assume that if I had tried, something would have gone wrong and it wouldn't have worked out, rather than doing the thing and having the chance that maybe this does work out really well. And then I have to keep taking steps to
Right.
continue it. Right.
Right.
So
You got to scale
that
this
when you said
thing.
that, yeah, that reminded me of when that conversation that I had with her. And it
Yeah.
was, yeah.
That's a pretty cool perspective. I never thought about it that way, but I can definitely see how that applies.
Hmm.
Yeah, because I'm like, man, if you do it and it works, now you got to keep going. Now what?
Exactly. Now what?
Yeah,
Right.
now what do I do? That's a
Yeah.
whole nother level, So yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. I think another piece to that is being perfect at it. You think that everything that you do is it's got to be 100% correct the very first time that you do it. I had so many ideas growing up that I thought about things that I wanted to do, and I was just like, well, no, it's not really that great, so no, I'm not going to do it. And then, I'm like, 10 years later, I'm like, man, what if I would have just stuck with it? Where would it be today? Or you see somebody else doing it. It's like, man, if I just would have done it, and I just,
Yeah.
perfected it as I go or, put some effort into it, where could it have gone? Nothing's going to be perfect. Everybody has to start somewhere. We didn't all start out great, but it's like this thing in my head. And I'm just like, no, it's got to be 100% perfect. No one can see it
Yeah.
when it's half done.
Yeah.
No one, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Have you ever heard of Factor, that meal delivery
oh,
service?
yes, yes.
Did I ever tell you the story when my cousin Quentin called me when I had my catering company?
No.
Uh, so I had a catering company. So this had to be in 2013, maybe around then, 2013, 2014.
Mhm.
So my cousin, I think he has a degree in kinesiology, and he refs college ball all over the country, and he's actually the person who got me deeply into sales outside of my best friend Alicia. And he calls me one day and he's like, "Rebo," that's what my family calls me. And he's like, "I got an idea and I need you to do it." He's like, "I got the money, I got the idea, we're gonna do this." He said, and he was living up in California at the time, and so meal services had not taken off yet, like
Mhm.
Apron, whatever they're called, Blue Apron or
Yeah.
Green Chef, Factor, none of them had taken off yet. And he's like, "Man, I be working out all the time and I just get tired of eating the same thing over and over, chicken and broccoli, chicken and broccoli, chicken and
Mhm.
broccoli." And he's like, "And you know how to cook stuff that's healthy, that tastes really good." And he's like, "What we need to do is we need to build this business, take orders from people, put together food that is macro focused, and then we deliver it to them." And I was like, and we're talking about fear of failure, right? In my head, I thought that kind of sounds like a good idea. It also sounds hard. And I think, what if they don't like my food? What if this doesn't go right? Where am I going to do this? Totally shot him down. 100% shot him down.
Yeah.
So like 5 years later,
Yeah. Here it comes.
He's like, I'm sorry. I'm like, what is going on? You start seeing all these meal services. Yeah. And so anytime we get together, at least, 2 out of the 3 times we'll see each other. He's like, remember that time I had an idea that was going to make us billionaires? Right. And I turned it down for fear of failure. Right.
Yeah, for sure.
He's like, oh, well, call me about it next week. Well, I don't know. Let me think about it. Right. He was going to finance it.
Man, he had to take it. Because let me just put it out there. Your food is good. Okay. It would have been amazing.
I got to say, I had some potato salad yesterday. I think I didn't mix it all the way because it actually wasn't that bad. I tasted it and I was like,
was this a different potato salad or was the same potato salad?
It was the same one.
All right.
You disagree? It was bad?
No, it wasn't bad. It was different. Not bad. Different.
Different is not good. Anywho,
we'll just move right on past that.
We'll just move on. Let's just move on from that.
Yeah, let's just move on from the potato salad. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So, another one of the things that I think plays a part into procrastination is just a lack of motivation. As you know, recently I got into cycling. I love it. I enjoy it a lot. But some days I get up, it's 3:30 in the morning. It's hot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I'm like, because I got to get out there early because it's hot.
Yeah.
I'm just like, man, I'm tired. I got to go to work, so I got to ride. I got to get back, still get showered. And I'm just like, nah, I'm just going to lay in this bed and do nothing. So it's nothing other than I'm just not motivated to do it, so I have to figure out other components. And I guess that, that's kind of where the discipline kind of kicks in. And I'm like, all right, this is just what I committed to. So I got to get it done. But sometimes it's just, I just don't want to do it. There's just no other reason to it.
It's wild too, because like you said, it's like you're waking, you woke up at the right time.
Right.
You've got plenty of time to do this thing, cause I do that. I'm an early riser. I always wake up sometime between 4:30 and 5. That's just when my body says, Amanda, open your eyes.
Yeah.
My bike has been back there. I don't think I'm not on your level, but I don't think I've ridden in like a week and a half, maybe a little bit longer. Maybe
you're so close to the level. Just know that you're so close.
Not there yet. But like, I'll wake up and I'll be like, I'll have like, okay, so first, before I go to sleep, I'll be thinking Atomic Habits. Lay my clothes out. Lay my clothes out. That'll make it that much easier in the morning. And I'll look at it. I'm like, nah. That's not that many clothes. I'll just get it in the morning. Then I'll wake up with plenty of time. And I'm like, okay, it's 4:30. I can get up. I can be ready and out of the house within 30 minutes-ish. And I'm like, oh, but by about 8, it's going to be really hot. It's like, girl, you ain't going for a 3-hour ride. Like,
right.
What are you even thinking about 8 o'clock right now?
Right.
Like, you're going to be back here in this house by 6:30 at the latest. But instead I'll be like, I'll have, it's so weird. Cause it's like, I have this, there's plenty of time. I have this whole thought. Like, it's the same thing with me, like going to the gym or sometimes if I'm wanting to get into a new book that's not like a business style book, I'll be thinking to myself, I just want to take a few minutes to read. And I'm like, oh, but I only have an hour before I have to do the next thing. And it's like, I can literally read for 7 minutes and be fine. But no, the one thing I am good with is meditation. And there's a quote that helped me get there. And I want to say it's Sun Tzu. I could be wrong. I'm going to look it up. But the quote is, meditate for 20 minutes every day. And if you don't have 20 minutes, meditate for an hour. And it's, the
like
idea that if you can't make 20 minutes for yourself,
right,
you need to make so much more time for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're listening to the Me First podcast, brought to you by 360 Home Services. At 360, our mission is to transform spaces and redefine comfort. Check us out at 360cleanit.com. That's 360cleanit.com. You can book right online and get your space transformed. Start redefining your comfort. So, but yeah, that's funny that you said that, because you're like, you woke up at the right time, but
you're just like, no, just don't want it. And it's crazy how you'll just play these things out. Like you say, you're like, oh no, don't have time for that. No, don't really. When really you have more than enough time to get it done. It's like you'll find every excuse not to get it done. But it's like once you make that first excuse, here comes number 2. Then here comes number 3, and it just kind of keeps going. So yeah, that's a struggle, trying to just make sure you stay motivated to get those things done, or at least disciplined to get them done, because you won't always be motivated.
Yeah.
But you figure it out eventually as you go. Hopefully.
What do you do instead when you're like, I'm not going to do it? Like, what do you do instead during the time that you could have been writing?
It depends. It depends.
That laugh.
Because most times it's so unproductive. It'll be like scrolling on social media, walking around in a circle. I'm like, oh yeah, I could do this.
You're like, I do the least. That's what I do.
Exactly. Whatever the minimal is what I'm doing. And then I'm like, at the end of it, I'm like, you know what? You just could have went riding the bike. I'm like, well, I guess I have to try again tomorrow.
Don't have time now.
Yep, gotta go to work.
Man, that is great. Walking around in circles took me out.
I'm telling you, whatever I can do to not do the task.
So I'd be thinking about the feeling of the wind on my face when I'm riding. Like, thinking about riding.
Exactly. Like, remember when I saw those ducks by the canal? Oh, they were cute.
I wonder if they're still there. We may never know.
Not today. We won't know today. Yes. Yep, that's what I'm doing. I'm going to do better. Yep, the goal is to do better.
I'm going to do better.
I'm going to do better.
I believe in you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I'm going to have to do better too. Cause like when I just said about laying out my clothes, it's like, and it helps. It helps me. Like if I lay my clothes out the night before, lay my clothes out, shoes, got my socks, it helps me to get to the place.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's almost like self-sabotage. It's like, I know if I do this thing, it's going to help me. But instead, I'm going to not do the thing. And then I'm going to be sad about not doing the thing that the thing was going to help me to think.
Precisely it right there.
Precisely. It's all coming back to me.
That's great.
It's all coming back. It's all coming.
It's all great.
Oh, that's great.
No procrastination. Love that.
So fear of failure.
Yes.
Lack of motivation. Are there any other reasons you found that procrastination happens?
Yes. I think in this one, I find as far as like doing business and making, I guess, I find it mostly, I think, with work, with business is decision fatigue, and probably family life too. You just get overwhelmed with making a decision, and you're just like, you know what? Turns out I'm not making any decision. In fact, I'm going to bed. We're done here. I think that's a big one. Sometimes you just have so many things to do, so many decisions that need to be made. You're just like, I can't. I don't have the capacity to do it, so I'm just not going to do anything. And then, of course, that leads you down this cycle of procrastination. Yeah, just not doing anything. Yeah. So, yeah. I find it a lot with my business stuff. I have so many things to do with it.
So that's a really good one. Decision fatigue. Mm-hmm. That's something that I've struggled with a lot. And I think a lot of it comes from, if you make a lot of decisions, like say you have a day job or your main, whatever the main thing is that you do.
Yeah.
When you make a lot of decisions in that job, like even down to the point where if I was going to lunch with somebody, they'd be like, what do you want? I'm like, no, no,
Not doing
don't
it.
put that on me. Like, absolutely not. Like, or if I'm going to get lunch, where are you going? Like, I have no idea. I'm going to my car. Like,
Right.
I have to
I'll
go
be driving.
decision by decision. Like,
Right.
I'm going to go to the car. I'm going to turn the car on. I'm going to turn left. I'm going to like, man, that decision fatigue will get you. It's tough.
Yeah, it is. It is. It will take over if you let it. It can really take you down a path. I find myself getting like that a lot. And I'm just like, hey, you got to reel it in one step at a time and just, but the longer you let it linger on, it's like the more decisions ultimately you're going to have to make because now everything's just kind of piling up.
Yeah. Oh, man.
So
it's almost like there's an easier way out.
Yeah.
It's almost like procrastination. The more we talk about this, the more it's almost like procrastination's the hard way.
Yeah. But it can be the hard way, I think, but it can be easy depending on how it goes.
I'm still committed.
Yeah. I'm still there. As I was reading, so they have a psychologist. His name is Dr. Tim Pitchell.
They have him?
Yes, they have him at the Carleton University. They do have him, and he is working diligently for them. Okay.
Okay.
And, yes. They do have him. Not at all. Okay. He is taking care of business. And so he has a few books, and he just talks about procrastination, how to get out of the cycle, and things like that. And one of the things that he talks about is temporal discounting. And it basically is talking about immediate result versus long-term result. So imagine you have two options, $50 now, $100 in 1 year. Most people are like, hey, I want the $50 right now. I don't want to do the thing that's going to give me $100 long term. Same mentality of diet and exercise. If I can get a short-term fad diet that's going to help me drop 20 pounds, what am I going to the gym for? That's crazy talk. It's just that thought process. So I think, that's, I guess, how I think about it. I'm like, all right, well, procrastinating, I'll probably get a good result. So there's really not that much of a reason to stop right now, so it works. But, long term, if you just don't start making the decisions and kind of get in the groove and I think start to break that cycle, then you probably do create a cycle of just creating more tasks for yourself that ultimately are going to overwhelm you. And then you fall into decision fatigue and you're just like, nope, don't want to do anything, creating more decisions for you to make long term. So it's definitely a cycle that needs to be broken.
Yeah. What you just said made me think, I wonder though, if it's like, is procrastination, it's like, okay, I can procrastinate and I can get decent results.
Mm-hmm.
Some would say good results.
Right.
If I didn't procrastinate on certain things, could I get phenomenal results and more of them? Like, is it blocking is it giving me a ceiling? Is it putting me at a ceiling?
Yeah.
And, for those of you listening, I think that's a question to ask yourself, right? If you find yourself procrastinating and it's working out for you, it's like, I wonder, did you have to study in school? You probably not, right?
Was that a study?
So neither was I. Now, when I got to college, when I took my McKinsey certification, when I went to culinary school, I had to study. There were concepts and methodologies that I wasn't familiar with, and it wasn't, all multiple choice or fill in the blank, or, it was a different level, right? And so I think for me, I think all the way up through high school, being able to get really strong results without much effort really ruined me for things that, because I mean, let's be honest, the American school system is not where, hey, not to offend anyone,
Right.
but we're not the greatest. So that just made me think of that. Like, is there a ceiling that it's creating for me? And I'm going to tell myself that the answer there is yes. And that is a reason for me to learn the how around not procrastinating. And there are things that I've been trying. So I'm sure there are things that you want to share too when we get to that episode. But yeah, interesting.
Absolutely.
So temporal discounting
Yes.
is, so sorry, explain it one more time.
So basically, it is known as time discounting. And so it refers to the tendency to value immediate rewards more highly than future rewards, is the idea. Essentially, it describes how the perceived value of a reward decreases as the delay to receiving that reward increases.
$1 million jackpot.
Mm-hmm.
You take the, 600,000 today, or do you take,
Exactly.
50,000 a month for, and it's like,
yep.
Logically, it's like, well, I take the annuity, but
right.
It's like most people.
Yeah, they can take the lump sum. Exactly.
Wander it away.
Exactly. when if you take the annuity, it's like, all right, I blew this batch. Now I have more coming. When if you just get in a lump sum, when it's done, it's done. But of course that's not the thought process. It's like, no, I want it all right now. But that's that microwave mentality. Yeah. It's my money and I want it now. So yeah, it's procrastination, man. It's a beast to overcome. And I think once you develop a habit of doing it and it's successful, it's almost like an addiction. Like, I can do this, but like you said, I think that it does create a ceiling for you, because can you be great? Can you be phenomenal if you just stop? If you just take the time to do what it is you need to do. And I ask myself that often because, again, I'm very good at procrastinating. I'm like, if you just would have did that a little bit earlier, because you could have saved yourself some stress. Probably so.
Could you have taken additional jobs and, and exponentially grown the potential? Yeah. Yeah. Very, it's like, oh, well, I can only, my bucket only has room for, 10 fish. And it's like, well,
yeah,
when you get to 3 fish, you're supposed to put those 3 fish on the ice.
Right.
No, nah. I'm just the bucket holds 10. So that's where we're gonna stop.
We're just gonna do 10. Yeah. Totally agree. Man, like you said, now that we're processing it, I'm like, well, I probably could do a little better here in this area, because I do create some caps for myself. Because I'm like, no, I really can't take any more on, because I'm totally waiting till the last minute. So I'm booked up. I just really can't do it. Yep, right at the last minute, a few hours out, I just can't do that.
Like, you want yours on the same day as them? No, because I already have theirs, and I only have a few hours between when I start it and when I deliver it. So.
Like, that makes no sense. Like, I had this one 3 weeks ago, but I literally only have 3 hours to do it. So I just can't, and it's like,
can't do it.
Man. And it's like, it causes so much stress and anxiety. And I've convinced myself, I'm like, oh, I work better under pressure. Like, that's just the way I function. I can't do it any other way. And it's like, is that the truth? Or did you just make that up?
Did you make that up? Yeah.
Could you function calmly? Like, if you had enough time, can you just sit and be at peace and, do a section here, maybe revisit the next day, and then do a little bit more instead of cramming it all into just a few hours? What could you produce if you just really took your time and just say, okay, I got all the pieces. Let me really put some effort into this.
Well, and what you just said is that temporal discounting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you do little bit by little bit by little bit,
yeah,
that's the $100 in a year. Because
right.
I don't get to hand off this delivery still until the 20th.
Yeah.
So whether I started on the 1st and finish it on the 18th, or whether I started on the 19th and delivered on the 20th, I'm not going to get the full reward until that day.
Yeah.
So that's good example.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, that is, that is why we procrastinate, essentially, in a nutshell. I'm sure there's tons of other reasons why people do it. And, I totally love to hear it. If people want to, leave comments, you want to send us a message as to why you guys feel like you procrastinate, definitely let us know. We'd love to hear it.
Heck yeah. Remember, I love the horror stories.
Of the good old procrastination. We've definitely shared a few, right? We've had our own fair share of horror stories. Well, definitely, guys, we thank you guys for tuning in. I think the next episode, we are going to be tapping into the power of routine, which can help us break the cycle of procrastination. Right? Amanda's going to present that for us. I'm excited.
All right. Are we doing that one next, or are we doing how to stop procrastinating?
Oh, heck. You are so right. There I go, not procrastinating and jumping the gun there.
You're like, I'm not going to let you procrastinate.
Yeah, that's all right. Reel it in. Backing it up. All right, guys. So thanks for tuning in. On the next episode, we're going to talk about how to stop procrastinating for good. So we're going to learn some techniques that we can use to help combat the procrastination journey, and hopefully how to rid ourselves of it and get on task and cause ourselves less stress, take the ceilings off, and be able to excel successfully without that pesky procrastination. Make sure you guys, what you say?
Successfully excel. Succel.
I love that word. That is a good word.
Succel.
Yes.
Excellent. Using it.
Oh, I'm going to use that too. Thank you. All right, guys. Make sure to subscribe, leave a review, share the podcast with your friends, and don't forget to send your stories and questions about procrastinations. We'd love to hear from you.
Catch you next time, guys. Peace.
Peace.